What's happening, Daredevil fans? In this video, Phil marks out about Daredevil Born Again Episode 4, and I'm late as shit to this party because I've been working on some other content for you guys, so without further ado, let's get into it.
Please! Let me out!
The episode starts and White Tiger's gear is being bagged up. Murdock is gathering evidence from the coroner when his devil sense tingles and Hector's niece arrives, demanding to see her uncle. Just like in the comic books, it appears that in the MCU, Hector Ayala's niece is Angela Del Toro, who goes on to become the White Tiger in the books, so it's likely it'll happen in this series too. In the comic books, Angela Del Toro was born and raised in the Bronx, grew up and became an NYPD police officer for 4 years, gained a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's in criminology, attended Quantico and graduated in the top % of her class, and became an FBI agent. But in this series, she appears a little too young for any of that, but I digress. It should be noted that in the comic books, the current White Tiger is Ava Ayala, Hector Ayala's sister, who does adopt the amulet from Angela Del Toro, and it appears the chronology of the mantle of the White Tiger is staying the same as in the comics, so bonus points for me. Angela knows about her uncle's White Tiger past and how the cops are all dirty, and is overly emotional about his execution. Murdock consoles her, and then we cut to the triggered Punisher graffiti as a man in a horrifying mask carries a seemingly lifeless body across some train tracks. And who's carrying this lifeless body, you ask? Well, it's Muse. For those unfamiliar, in the comics, Muse is a mysterious and deranged artist who creates gruesome works of art out of his victims. Muse's real name and backstory has never been revealed, and his face is terrifying as shit. In the comics, Muse has the power of imperceptibility, where his body acts like a vortex which can pull in every bit of sensory information around him, making even Daredevil's enhanced senses hard to target him. He's an expert combatant and really good at painting, who also possesses a certain degree of superhuman strength and speed, but what should be noticed is his extraordinary resistance to pain. We'll see if any of these powers pop up in the show, if any, but this review's already going longer than I thought, so let's continue. We come back from the opening credits and we're in a nightclub. Fisk's millennial intern Daniel is getting wasted with some hot chicks, one of them being BB Reports, who are begging him to stay at the club. Daniel's drunk and stooging all of Fisk's business, and the ladies send him off in a taxi. Nearby, 2 cops are eating snacks at a convenience store while arresting an apparent thief. Murdock's standing on a roof and receives a phone call from Kirsten, who says she needs him at work. Matt is tasked with meeting their client Leroy, the apparent thief, and we're back in therapy with the Fisks. It is here in therapy that Wilson is urged to talk about Vanessa's affair with Adam for some reason. Poor Adam. Fisk doesn't even want to talk about it, but these women are insistent on it for some reason, so the Kingpin just sits there and listens while Nessa lusts over Adam's hands. Adam's gonna lose those hands, bro. Vanessa then talks about her father and explained how her cheating made her felt not locked down or some dumb shit. Wilson is asked if he confronted Adam. Oh shit, Adam's already dead maybe. Wilson says he confessed his marriage and love for Vanessa to Adam, and what the fuck are they doing with Kingpin? Therapist asks Vanessa and Fisk where Adam is today. They both answer they don't know, and the therapist asks Vanessa if she feels safe in her marriage. Vanessa still defends Fisk and says Wilson would never harm anyone. This was utterly emasculating and humiliating for the Kingpin. BB reports for a second, then we catch up with Murdock, who heads to jail to talk to Leroy. Leroy cracks jokes on him. Leroy denies being a thief, and Murdock calls him out for lying. Leroy treats Murdock like shit. Matt goes to negotiate probation from a parole officer who's this hot chick called Sophia, and the two flirt back and forth. Oh, that Murdock. Murdock then runs into one of the dirty cops and accuses him of assassinating the White Tiger, which he vehemently denies. The cop presses Murdock, like physically, and Murdock uses his spidey senses to discover the cop's telling the truth. We catch back up with Fisk at the docks, who's waxing poetic about the city and how they need to clean up Red Hook. Knowing it's gonna cost a lot of money and take a lot of jumping through hoops to get this done, Fisk's constituents tell him it's not an option, but Daniel the Stooge encourages Fisk, and he pushes ahead regardless of any resistance. Back at jail, Murdock tells Leroy he doesn't get probation and has to spend 7 days in the can, and Leroy flips out on Matt. Leroy explains how the man has kept him down, and it's a never-ending cycle for him, and he stole because for once in his life he wanted a goddamn dessert that tastes good, and justifies his stealing by saying the state will spend more to keep him incarcerated than the box of sugar cookies cost. lost. Murdock agrees.
A sugar cookie, man. This is crazy.
We catch back up with Mayor Fisk, who's visiting an elementary school and irritably listening to a rendition of We Built This City on Rock and Roll, sang entirely out of tune. I read somewhere that Marvel fired the original kids they had in the scene because they sang too well, and they needed kids who sang completely off key. Funny little note. Daniel reads an article about Fisk on his phone that included things that he drunkenly stooged at the club at the start of the episode. Daniel asks Fisk's lead handler what he should do about this mistake. She says she doesn't want to hear his shit and tells Daniel she's been there longer than both he and Fisk and that she'll be there long after they're both gone, so she will handle it. Fisk hilariously bails out before the next song and he's informed about the bad news. Fisk demands an all-hands-on-deck meeting, to which Danny fully cops to messing up and tells Fisk he's entirely loyal and will continue to be loyal to Wilson no matter what. The campaign lady steps up and says Danny is hers and she takes responsibility. Wilson respects Danny for being courageous and telling the truth, and it looks like nobody's getting fired or killed. However, Fisk warns Danny that if he ever messes up again, he's dead as shit, and Danny assures Fisk it'll never happen again. BB reports the people talk about how Fisk's always in scandals, I guess, and Murdock walks the street White Tiger was murdered on to look, or listen, I guess, for clues. He discovers a manhole with a shell casing in it, he sniffs it, gross, then he goes on the hunt Wolverine style. Matt winds up in some weird semi-abandoned building where he walks into a room and says hello. He's greeted violently by Frank Castle wielding an axe, and we are so back, baby. The bullet casing contained a Punisher symbol on it, and just like I called it, it wasn't Frank who killed White Tiger, but some asshole parading around using his symbol like he earned the shit. Murdock tells Frank he has nothing to do with the murder, but Frank could help people with his abilities. Castle says he doesn't have time for that superhero shit, Red, and reminds Matt of Foggy. Frank confronts Murdock for not dealing with Foggy's death, and Matt backhands Castle. Castle relates to Matt over lost family and criticizes Murdock for still trusting the system. Castle even refers to Bullseye as Bullseye, and this shit is really picking up, kid. Listen, I know I crack a lot of jokes during these reviews, but truly, this is one of the best scenes and back and forths between two characters in the history of the MCU. Television show, animated, or movie. As a diehard fan of the MCU for damn near 20 years, like I'm sure most of you watching this are, these are the type of moments that make trudging through hours of She-Hulk Attorney at Law and Moon Knight all worthwhile. Murdock and Frank part ways, and we're back with the Fisks, who have the worst marriage ever. Wilson knows the doctor asked Vanessa if she felt safe with him. Vanessa asks Wilson if she should feel safe with him. You shouldn't. Wilson explains that he's never learned forgiveness, but he is trying. That's not a good sign. Vanessa says she isn't the same woman when he left. Yeah, we know. Then we cut to Murdock's pad, and his girlfriend therapist lady is there chilling. She says she worries about Matt when he's not home at night, and he apologizes. They start making out, and we cut to later, and Matt's lying in bed naked, awake, thinking about Fisk. Pause. Murdock heads to his secret Daredevil suit room that's like on his roof or something, where we see his different cowls, and this is so fucking cool. Murdock starts training with his staff on the roof while Mayor Fisk indulges in a ginormous pasta dish. It's revealed that Adam is actually locked up in a cage, poor Adam, and how funny is it that the stock image dude I picked for these videos actually kind of looks like Adam. I mean, seriously, what are the odds of that? Adam's pleading with Fisk to let him free as Daredevil trains on the roof, and we are reminded overall that people don't really change. We then cut to under the train tracks where we were at the start of the episode, and it's been so good that I genuinely forgot about the fucking Muse. It turns out the body Muse was lugging around at the start of the episode is actually a live one, and that's when Muse sticks him with a needle and starts either injecting or sucking things out of him, or maybe both, and we hit the end credits. Here's my final thoughts. This episode was absolutely phenomenal, and I saw some people getting angry about the cucking of Fisk online, but it does make perfect sense why they're doing it. He's eventually going to snap and lose his shit, and everybody will pay, Adam and Vanessa included. There are many moving parts, but nothing feels watered down other than the relationship between Murdock and his therapist girlfriend lady. It's really just an afterthought. I'm really looking forward to the doubleheader episodes 5 and 6 that are releasing at the same time before the mid-season break. At least I think that's what's happening. I'm actually going to work on that recap and review video right now, so with that being said, episode 4 gets 2 thumbs up from me, and Phil marks out when you hit the like and subscribe button, so do that, and I'll see you all back here for my review of Daredevil Born Again episodes 5 and 6.